So since I've seen a few videos, pictures rather, of people's builds, I've noticed a lot of issues of people soldering the speaker. So I know Wormy already covered this, but I'm going to cover a little bit more depth and detail. So when I do the speakers, I always use like this magnet wire. It's super thin, it's got a coating on it, it's 30 gauge. And all you need is just a little bit. You don't need a lot. So basically the way I do it is I solder to the outside pads. Very important. Nobody does this. You know, a lot of people don't. These pads here. The ones in the middle, they already have soldered. They're the wires from the speaker cone and everything else solders to this. We then solder to these outside pads. So a lot of people have been soldering here, and there's already soldered there. It'll create a bulge, or sometimes you can desolder the wire coming from the speaker itself, therefore, you know, killing the speaker. So the magnet wire doesn't need to be long. I like to wrap it around, so basically here to about here. And the way magnet wire works, especially if it has the coating, this is what you want, because you want it to be non-conductive, except for where the tips are. So you have to kind of burn them off. You can scrape them off, but the easiest way for me is to burn it off. So I put some solder on my tip, and just kind of add more to it. So now, see if I could zoom in to show you guys what it should look like. Focus on my finger. Okay. The wire has solder on it at the very tip, but the rest is in that reddish color, copper looking color. You know, that's basically a coating, so it protects it from shorting out and touching anything else. So we just want a little bit of the solder at the tip. That's all we're really looking for. So once I get one side done, I add a little solder to one of the outside pads. Doesn't matter which one you start off with. You don't want a lot, because you want just a little bit, because you don't want anything to go above this back piece of the magnet here. So you want as little solder as you really require for this. Otherwise it's going to sit high and it's going to bulge when you screw it down to a 3D part. That's it, it's on there, see? So I like to wrap it around to more or less the middle here, like this. Use my snips. Now we got one done. So I'm going to do the exact same thing we did on that side on this end. So add some solder to the iron. And just kind of hold it at the tip. I like to add extra solder for whatever reason. It burns the enamel off. And you add some fresh solder. And it looks good to me. It's nice and shiny. Kind of hard to see, I know. There it is. Now I'll do the exact same thing for the other side. Got the wire. Try to get it more in center for the camera. When you do this, you can actually, if you pay attention, might not show on camera, but you can see the enamel like bubble off. It's burning. That's what we want. Okay, now that's done. Let's get it on this side. clean tip. We're just heating the solder that's already there, that we put on there. There we go. With a nice solid connection. I can see and feel, see the solder joints are not even close to the top of that magnet. This is what we want. Again, wrap it around more or less that way. Snip it. And get magnet Y out of the way. Nice and shiny, so that's good. So here we are. So I bet a majority of people will solder the speaker with the leads facing up. I do it the opposite way. This is why I wrap it around. Sorry about the noise. Looks like we got a low flying jet coming around my area. And that's all there is to it. Then you just push it up, and because they're so thin, nothing's gonna bind on. They're not gonna bind on anything. Boom, job is done. Hopefully, I see less problems now going forward if people watch this video. Use 30 gauge wire. If you can, use the magnet wire. Much better. And it's a simple process. As long as it's not bulging on the bottom, and the wires are not super long, and they're very thin. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys learned something from this. And again, I'd like to thank my Patreons, which their names will be on screen. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description on how to become a Patreon. Thank you.